Bruce, he gives you a great description of what it was like recording the songs. This is chapter 11. He uses a TEAC 144 4-track recorder. Is that how you, or
Yeah,
do you,
that's a TAC. Yeah.
it looks kind of like
Um,
what I'm recording my podcast. I was like a little,
yeah,
mini mixer.
I went and bought one on eBay. I found a broken one, and when I do book events, I bring it with me just because uh, it's good to make contact with the material history and to see this thing.
Yeah. It
It's
was ahead
just
of its time at that point, right?
ahead of its time, and now it looks like just this artifact of deep funkiness, and it's cool for people to see it. When we did the CBS Sunday Morning piece, I brought it out there, and it was beautiful. Bruce kind of put his hands on it, put both his hands just to, like, feel the things, like, yeah, yeah. Um, but it's recording on a cassette that you could buy, at the time you could go buy them at CVS, and little kids would use them to tape their voices and play it back. The difference with the TAC 144 was that it's 4-track recording, and so that was the revolution. It had been there for a couple years, been out on the market for a couple of years, but to put it really simply, it was the first consumer multi-track machine. Now multi-track recording is a mundane thing. It's on everybody's laptop, if you choose to do it. But then it was like, whoa, multi-track recording. And pretty soon you see that shift where people are starting to take it home. And in that respect, Springsteen's move was very prophetic of what was coming. But he took it home and it was still cassette recording.
Yeah. Well, also it's where he recorded it too. Where is this house that he records it in? And it's just in the bedroom, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, if I may be getting ahead of things, but when I finished the book, I sent it to John Landau first, and John got back, and it was, we had a call that was really rich, deep, memorable for me. And at the end he said, so I want to send it on to Bruce, but I'm not going to tell him anything. I'm not going to tell him how I feel. Let's get a cold read off of Bruce. And he sends it, and then a couple of days later I got an email from Bruce, and at the end of it he said, how can I help you? And I wrote back, I can't find this house. I'm not a great, there are Bruce fans who are better at this kind of research than I am, but you can find a lot of Bruce's homes. Couldn't find this one. And a few days later, I get an undisclosed number on my phone, and it's Bruce calling from the bedroom where he recorded Nebraska. And, he says, hey, Warren, I'm in the room where 40 years ago I made Nebraska, and I haven't been here since. And the guy who rented it to me still rents it. And he said, I can bring you out. And so Bruce gave me this last stop in my pilgrimage. And I'll tell you, to be working on a book over a period of years and then walk with the artist into the bedroom where the record was made is as moving an experience as I've had. And I think, just like I said, that TAC 144, I wanted to buy one on eBay just to have the material history in front of me. Bruce did a few things along the way, like bringing me to that room, that really helped me as a writer. Like when you're standing in the room and there's some history breathing in those walls, and it relates to a project you've been working on for a couple of years, it just matters. It does something. And I think he knows that. And so he made as much physical contact possible for me, with the guitar that he used, with the portrait of his aunt who, died when she was 6. Like, he put these things in front of me, and it's hard to say exactly what that means to a writing project, but I know it means something, So
And
when
he
he
knew it too.
brought in,
He knew it too.
yeah, yeah, he's,
He's like being a
really,
producer at that point. He's getting the most
yeah,
out of you. Yeah.
yeah. That's a good way of putting it, because then, when we got into the room, that there were a few minutes of, like, he probably saw my feet slightly off the ground, and after a few minutes of quiet, he just handed me his cell phone and said, "Take my picture." And that picture's in the book. And then he just started going, "Okay, my bed was here. It was turned this way. And then I had a wooden table over there." And then he just created a picture. The room was a lot the same, but he wanted to give me exactly how it was set up. And just like a writer can't ask for more.
The shag rug was still there, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wanted people to turn their backs so I could cut a piece of that orange shag rug,
Yeah.
give it to my sons.
Yes. Oh man. Small little house. What was that?
Well, it's different than it was, because they put a second story addition, and they kind of blew out the kitchen. So the house you see now from the front doesn't look the same, but the room where he made Nebraska, it's not just those orange shag rugs. It's like mostly intact. So it's this corner, as you're looking at the house, it's the rear left corner looking out on the reservoir. And it's like it was.
Wow.
And it's wild.